Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Vely's vlog. Guys, I work too much, and basically at work for literally half the day, and it really sucks. Part of it is because I'm a full-time employee, so it's mandatory that I be there for hours on ends. Part of it is because I need the money. Part of it is because working the hours that I do ensures that I'll get the money I need. Dubbing down to a part-time position at my place of employment doesn't guarantee that I'll get the hours that I want, nor does it guarantee that I'll get enough hours to get what I need for the months. So while currently I'm working enough to make more than what I need to pay bills and live comfortably and whatnot, if I were to ask for less hours and move to a part-time position, I couldn't guarantee that I'd make enough for months. On the positive side, I don't actually have to do much at work. And on another positive side, my full-time position allows me to work hours that work for me. I am not a morning person. Mornings are for sleep. A while back, I worked another job in the company as an accountant. I worked as an accountant for another company before this one, in a similar position, and in that older company, the accountant position was a nighttime job. It was nice, I had my own office, and I could keep to myself. At my current company, the accountant job was more or less the same responsibilities, and I was also given my own office. However, the hours for my current company in the accountant job required that I be in at 5 in the morning, 5 a.m. And oh my goodness, I had to compensate. At first, I tried to be a normal person and just go to bed early and wake up early. But I ended up waking up at like 7 a.m. this one time, and being 2 hours late for my job was kind of really bad because there are reports that need submitting at certain hours and stuff, and deadlines and all that. So, not a good habit. So in order to deal with that problem that I can't wake up early at all, even if I go to bed early, I basically went straight to bed after I got off work. Then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just stay up. It was terrible. I lived like that for a couple years. But it was what I had to do to get to work on time at 5 in the morning, because I'm not a farmer. Accounting was fine though. The work was fine. I was left alone, so it was never the job that was the problem. It was just the hours. Though anytime I actually had to step outside of my office was a pain, because then I'd have to deal with people and whatever. It was nice having my own office, though. I could blast music as loud as I wanted, because my office was sequestered behind another outer office, so sound was never an issue. Though when people came in because they needed something or porter or whatever, they'd bemoan my strange music choices. Back then, I listened to a lot of nightcore, if you know what that is. Tee-hee. I'm not super big on music, though. Don't have a Spotify. I don't really listen to anything. I struggle to recognize famous bands or songs. People be like, oh, have you heard this by this? And I'll be like, oh, I have no idea. But then if I hear the song, I'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard this before. But I am musical in nature. I'd play the piano, I played the violin, all that jazz. Don't get me wrong, I do appreciate a good song, but I don't actively seek out music or add it to a list for me to listen to later, or require music for me to work or anything like that. And it's not like the music drowns out the voice in my head, that ever omnipresent voice that tells me things will be better if I just went to sleep. Forever. Imagine going to sleep, though, with an 11-hour workday, and streaming, and taking care of errands, and working on my stream, and keeping up with Final Fantasy XIV, and keeping up with this new gotcha game that I've been playing that I won't tell anyone about. There is no time for sleep. Unfortunately, I'm getting old. I can't function on a couple hours of sleep. I try to get 6 so I can have a few extra hours to work on things, but any less than that and things get hard. There's also another issue I have, where waking up is literally the hardest thing to do in the world for me, because, depression. But that's something we don't have to talk about in this installment. Anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough about things that aren't really worth rambling on about. Occult Crescent is coming out next week, and I also figured out how to create 3D objects in Unity. Sort of. Still a work in progress. But I've laid a good foundation, and utilizing that foundation, I will continue to work to become a better streamer for you, fair viewer. If you liked what you heard, consider giving me a like and a subscribe. And if you want more Vely, consider checking out my socials. I stream on Twitch 4 times a week, and there's also my Twitter and Blue Sky that you can peruse, or you can catch me on Discord. See you next week.